Welcome back, everybody. This is Will DSA, and we are back for another episode of the Other Side podcast. Today, we are joined by the whaliest of whales, the big slurpy man, Mr. True over here from Frontierland, and we also have the Ragin' Cajun. I don't know if he's from Louisiana, but we're just going to call him the Ragin' Cajun. He's an angry man. He's full of hot fire. That's a complete lie, but we have Bude with us today as well, representing Finding Miko with myself. We did have another guest on today. It sounds like he was not able to make it. We'll catch up with him later, hopefully. If he joins us later in the stream, great. But guys, we are back for episode, I think, 5. The game has changed up a little bit. For those of people who were wondering and thinking about Big Hero 6 and its effect, I think it is safe to say it has had an effect on this game. But before we jump into that, we're going to go ahead and jump into a little Conquest talk. This last week was our first week with the new Conquest that had the tower modulators and the persistent health, etc. And Bude, go ahead and tell me what your impressions were, as we were obviously on the winning side of ours. No, that's completely lie. We got our butts handed us. We got beat. But Bude, tell us your thoughts on Conquest this last week and how it went.
It's a step in the right direction. I like the changes. I like the modifiers. The health rollover was very nice. I was undefeated in all my attacks. Not tune my horn or anything, but it was much better than what they rolled out with.
Absolutely, Bude. And you can toot your horn all you want. I was not undefeated. And True will tell us exactly what he thinks here in a second. But persistent help was certainly helpful. It made me feel more competitive. It made me feel like I could take chances and not be completely screwed at the end of it, which was a huge factor for me in how I approached it. I would spend minutes trying to figure out, is this team gonna work, and I'd get cold feet. True, what was your thought on these changes, both persistent health and the modulators on towers?
The modulators were pretty good. They made you second look, teams you wouldn't normally. You just breeze through them. I believe Toy Story had one, Oceanics, and I think there was one more. I
Princesses
think it
had
was
one.
oh, and there was Mythical.
Yep, Princesses, Mythical, Oceanic, Toy Story, I believe were the 4.
Yeah. And the Toy Story one really made me, second guess what team to bring in, because I think it was like 20% health on top of, Bo's lead. And it was very interesting.
Like, they were thick boys. And I think that one also gave haste, too. Like, it was giving, like, Toy Story is typically a slower team, but those haste moves, like, they got, I think, 2 turns of haste, right off the bat. So Zerg was just slapping you in the face. And if you were put together right, it was hard, man. It was hard to get through it. I got stood up real quick by one of them. How did you guys? Speaking of the modulators, I mean, do you think they should keep the modulators the same each conquest and kind of let them almost a conquest meta developer on them? It's like, okay, so we know we have to fight these. What are good teams? Or do they kind of switch them up? Do they go ahead and say, okay, this next week is going to be Kingdom, etc.? Hey guys, 1 second. Daniel, turn that down. Keep it up or I'm going to send you to your damn room. How about that? Get your ass in your room now! 1 second, guys. This is not staying in the podcast. Then shut up! Quiet. I'm back. Where were we? Ah, yes. Right. So yeah, we were talking modulators. Do you think they should rotate those, True, or do you think they should stay the same and kind of let counters be developed to those specific teams?
I feel they should definitely rotate them so it keeps things fresh. Not so much fresh, but just different every conquest. So it's not just
Yeah, I
repetitive. We're doing the same strategy. setting the same
I
theme.
think they should change them up every season. Um, it will just become stale if they don't change them. Um, and they'll lose their shine.
Agreed. That brings up I like trying to theory craft as much as we can in this game, and it's not the easiest. It's starting to get there with some of the plug and plays, and you can move things around, but it's not quite at the point as other games are. But hopefully, given time, it will be. Um, of the modulators, is it all agreements that the Toy Story one felt pretty difficult? I know I faced one team that was like it was Zerg, Lotso, Chunk, Bo Peep, and they had Dr. Facilier in it. And the combination of having Facilier in it with a lot of the Toy Story villains also being downtown villains made that even more hard. So I think out of all of them, it was the hardest because of what you could do with it and the amount of teams. But things like princesses, wasn't that effective because there aren't that many good princesses.
Hey,
Shush. Let's as thick as some of the princesses are, guys. Let's admit that they aren't there yet. They aren't there yet.
Yet.
But I would love. What would you want to see in there instead of say a princess one or a mythical one? Because I think mythical was in the same boat. There just isn't quite enough mythical synergy to make it as challenging. I mean,
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Kingdom. Do you think Kingdom would be too overpowered to have one of those on there, just because of how powerful Kingdom can already be, or do you think that's a good challenge? Bude, why don't you answer that one first?
I had something to add to the Toy Story
Let's
one.
hear it.
So someone that got a knockup, you know, um, from his viability, Woody.
Yeah,
He grants haste, and he really shined with that modifier. I think they should play around with D modifiers. Like for example, if you go against a team with a certain um, team that you're going kind of at a disadvantage. For example, maybe they disable taunts or something along that line. But Kingdom would be so overpowered with a modifier, especially with Sean Yu's leadership.
Drew. What do you think about that? Would
I
Kingdom
mean,
be
yeah,
overpowered, or what would be a good fit in there?
I wouldn't say that would be overpowered, but it'd be way more difficult. And I also noticed they didn't give mutators to more of the meta characters, except I guess Oceanics. That one was probably the most difficult mutator.
My ass was over here calling them modulators because I couldn't remember what the fuck they were. Yes, mutators. Oh God, drinking right now is doing good things for me. But yeah, I want to see what they do to play around with it. I think everyone who's played it was almost in agreement. It was a good step. The stability of these modes. Let's talk about that for a second. Is that has to be the next thing that they change before bringing new stuff into it? Like persistent health was a must. The mutators are great, but the stability of not only conquest but even like sorcerers tournament, live PvP, it's one of those issues they keep saying they're working on, but they need to fix it. It does make it quite unenjoyable. Um, I mean, True, did you have any issues in Conquest about being kicked out, or what have your experiences been, even in like PvP or Sorcerer's Tournament this last week or so, with sort of those connection issues?
Well, they had that big issue with their servers when they first dropped the update, but that was everybody, and they
Right.
fixed it, within a day or so. But
Mm-hmm.
in Conquest, I don't believe I've ever disconnected from a game in Conquest,
Really?
fortunately.
That's lucky for you, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever disconnected either.
I wonder if it might be. I don't know if there's such things as like region specific or maybe phone specific or something underlying that causes some people to have it and some people not. Because I've heard that too. A lot of people say, I've never had a problem. Me, I have that problem almost every single conquest, one time or another. And I've actually been on just another level in like Sorcerers tournament. I've got locked out of Sorcerers tournament, 2 or 3 times this last week from going in trying to get the number 1 spot. And it glitches out, and I just can't get back into it in time. So I'm wondering if it might be region or like device specific. I feel like it's a big enough thing that Glue should address it and tell people what the progress is, or at least what the problem is. And that's, I think, all we can really look for from developers is what's the problem? We understand it's the problem, and at least an update on how they're working on it. I think that adds faith, and I don't think it is something that Glue does well at announcing patches, but they don't do very well in talking about fixing. We'll get
what
hot.
They're working on.
Yeah, we'll get we've gotten 1 or maybe 2 of those almost road ahead posts. Occasionally it's like, hey, we get hot fixes coming out, but it's not like it's an old fact. There are big issues that have been with this game since the launch of it globally, that have not been addressed or even talked about really. So I think it's a show of good faith that they at least let people know that those are being worked on. Granted, we had RuneGate, which was pretty bad, but we haven't had have you guys seen, that Marvel Strike Force stuff where they had to roll back like $30,000 worth of an oopsie for like every player who got it when they did this, what are they called, orbs or whatever their upgrading material is? It was like a decimal point.
I remember hearing about that.
It was like a decimal point error that equaled out to like grands upon grands of actual stuff for people who got it. I don't know what the rollback was, but I think in that situation, the little I saw of it, like the team over there was directly on it, and like each day or even a couple times a day, it seemed like they were like, we know the problem happened. Here's what we're trying to do. Patience. Here's what we're doing. And even if people don't like the decision that way, you're at least showing that we understand and we're trying. And I don't think Glue does that well. And I think, tell me what you think of this. This is a little off topic, but Meathead is their essentially their public face, the gaming face. I don't know how much he's like updated on a regular basis and how much he can answer. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, I think it's almost like they give him patch notes and here you go, and then shit happens, and it's just like, Meathead, what the fuck? And I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. At least to a true extent. What do you guys think about that sort of stuff?
I think he's pretty, he knows what's going on, or else they wouldn't, put him in that position. I mean, I would hope, but it's hard to say.
But do you think he is essentially given like a news broadcaster, okay? Is given or has a teleprompter of what the news is, and they're essentially reading off it. But if something goes off script, you can see them scrambling. And I'm wondering how much of like the tech, if he's truly just a PR guy and doesn't have like any of the technical like background of like building a game like this, which is fair. Like, PR people are important if that's the case, or if he's actually one of the developers who just happens to have the PR face. I would love to get big enough and have him on here. That would be kind of cool. Just grill him as much as would be allowed. But we're not that big yet, guys. We're just a couple of guys talking and drinking and being fools.
Yeah, I don't think he's more on the developer side, to be honest, from what I can see.
Bude, what are your thoughts? Do you think maybe that's the question? Should the public face of a game like this also be somebody who is a developer who can talk about some of these issues more effectively? Or should it just be a PR face? I lean almost to the fact that they should have some sort of developing background.
I would hope he has some idea of the technical side. because that would just be a poor communication structure if he's just the PR guy reading,
Notes.
yeah.
I don't know, man. But their true customer support stuff with like the hero stuff that had gone on with his leadership, like some of those responses. Well, Hero isn't supposed to be getting his speed lead because he's technically a downtown hero and not a tech hero, and like those responses was just you haven't even opened this game, have you? At all. This is not making sense. Hero's fixed though. He's actually working. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
finally.
Finally,
Yeah, I
after
mean, he seems like he's declined in his activity. Um, he seemed very receptive and open to the community in the beginning, but
Mhm.
I will give the general chat some slack for it. They grill him pretty hard, and that takes a toll on people after a while. And
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's affecting how he operates.
It might be. Yeah, I've
That's
got
also part of his job.
yeah, it's to be able to take the public shellacking and just roll with it. He
But the
does.
problem the problem is his communication is very, very direct. Like anyone can message him on Discord. Anyone can, and that's where these games fall into that trap kind of, because a lot of other, community managers, you get their email and they're on Twitter as well, and there's less of a communication, but Discord's more of a direct outlet.
Yeah, and it may just be the way the texting and typing works. But a lot of his responses, at least that I see, do come off as rather snotty's not the word, like smartassish, like being a smartass. Like he
Troll.
a little bit.
Yeah, but he didn't used to be like that.
That's
Just
true.
and he's kind of adapted to the general chat. They're kind of snarky, and I've had my run-ins with Club Conquest and my ideas about Club Conquest, and it you know
I
it
get
takes a
you,
toll on you.
and that's fair. So it's an interesting thought. Um, no, I'd love to see games like this, even if it's getting them on a bigger channel like a Cozy or. I mean, it's safe to say that Cozy is probably the biggest DSA channel out there right now as far as content. I don't think that's a question right now, but getting him, I think the PR person should be willing to go on the social media or the podcasts of content creators or somebody to talk directly. But I don't see that very much.
That's
And
what they do at Marvel Strike Force.
do they? I haven't paid enough
They
attention to it.
they put two I believe they put two developers when they were showing where they got to pick characters and then fight.
Oh, the
Um
draft.
yeah, the draft. They had two developers or a big streamer or something like that. That kind of connection is something to praise, and something that should be followed by these types of games, especially when you have people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and it'd be something I would like to see. Whether or not it'll happen, who knows. But as we move on, I think we can consider Big Hero 6. It has come out, a new catch of characters, each with their own abilities. And I don't think as a whole the faction disappoints. And the big question on everyone's mind since Frozen came out is what will counter Frozen. They did a very good job of making Frozen. It was overpowered, can still be, but it's fair. Uh, Ways were found to beat it as new things were introduced. And we've been seeing that now. Like, to me, for the most part, Frozen, usually isn't a big deal. I've figured out how to get around it. And True and Butte, I'm sure you have figured out the same. So the question is, though, Big Hero 6, as a whole, using just Big Hero 6 characters, Is it can you use this faction as a frozen counter? And let's go talking with AI, because AI is going to be important in Sorcerer's tournament, in Conquest specifically, even now with persistent health. PvP is great, but there's not enough of a large reward structure to really care that much about it. But Conquest seems to be moving in the direction of being something more serious. So against AI, and True, maybe you can jump into this because I think you've got them mostly all up there, if not all up there. Against AI, is Big Hero 6 a true frozen counter? Does it get beyond them and push past them?
From what I've tested, from what I've been able to, just people off my friends list, it works pretty good. It just all depends on really Elsa. And if she gets, fully ramped. If you kill Elsa, then, you'll win. It's almost impossible not to.
Gotcha. So and that's what I've noticed too, is controlling Elsa is the key. And Bude, you had mentioned the team you were running, and then True will go to you. I think while Big Hero 6 I think hybrid is still the way to go. Me currently, the team that I am running is Scrooge, Bubbles, Hero, Lead, Zerg, and Dash at the moment. But I do want to replace Dash with a Elsa once I get her 7 stars. It will be great. But even Gantu is who I'd want to replace him with. And the way they've brought in silence in this game and more silence characters is amazing. Because it helps control that fight. Honey Lemon being another one from Big Hero 6. But even Intimidate, like slowing down turn meter gain, and like if you can get Intimidate on Sven, that also makes that match not that bad because he's not, attacking essentially out of turn and doing stupid stuff. So what are your hybrid teams, guys? True, what do you, actually Bude first, what are you running for a hybrid right now?
I've been running exclusively, well, starting from the first row, Honey Lemon on the
Mhm.
left. I have Hero in the middle, or
Mhm.
excuse me, I have Anna in the middle. And then I have Baymax to the right. And behind him is Hero, and to the left is Elsa,
Okay.
with the spells being Fairy Slumber and Hammer.
True, what are you running?
I've been kind of trying everything out right now. There's that, the hyper silence team that's kind of going around.
Mm-hmm.
There's teams using Scrooge, and Zerg. I'm just kind of trying everything. And
Gotcha.
for spells, I feel like Slumber's really, gone up on the charts. And I've been actually using Blue Fairy Magic to kind of counter all the
Oh,
silences and debuffs.
that's actually a good
And it's
choice.
actually been really good.
Really, I'd be interested in trying that. Imagine how completely different this would look if they had not like nerfed Blue Fairy Magic. How insanely dumb those matches would be. Just the constant switching of, ugh, it'd be a nightmare. But what you guys actually, I think we can decide that a hybrid team is good to go. There's a lot of variables, but each one, Hero is a necessary in the team to face Frozen. Um, He's the only full constant I've seen, and I've seen a lot of like Hero is still, even with the nerf they did to him, he is still a linchpin in a lot of this stuff. Like, he still really is.
He's always the number one target for me.
See, but he's not my number one target anymore. Like my setup's different, so I'm truly going for because I know that if my hero and your hero are equal, my hero is as maxed out as it can get. So essentially, my rolls and your rolls are going to be an RNG thing. But if I win RNG, I know I'm going first. And I know I can upgrade Zerg. We talked about this a little last time. Like, upgrade Zerg and Zerg is powerful enough and I have him at the 7.5 level, so I have him as upgraded as it can be, and all his abilities are upgraded. So at that point, he can delete their main damage dealer no problem for the most part, and then typically a second character. And then it's down to a 3v5, and it's typically easier that way, especially, you use your bubbles then to silence somebody, etc. One thing a lot of people, and I did not realize, and reading, True, tell me if you feel this, and Butte as well.
Mm-hmm.
Reading kits is becoming much more important right now. Like understanding how things work. Like I was playing PvP the other day, and I completely forgot bubbles got turn meter every time somebody took damage. So I think I did something like I was facing a Baymax for one of the first times, and it was a Baymax that had bubbles in the team, and I used the rapid fire on Baymax because Zerg can't one shot Baymax, but that amount of hits, even though it got Baymax so low, screwed me because bubbles got a full turn meter and then silenced, I think, my dash or something important. And I say that to say, like, reading and understanding the upgrades and everything are very important now. And I say that to lead in the statement, like, they need something where, similar to like a Swuggo, where you can go in and look at your opponent's rosters and see what they've upgraded from a competitive standpoint. Because we have no idea, is this Baymax been fully upgraded, or has he got basic abilities? You know what I'm saying, True?
Yeah, I wish they kind of had that in Conquest too, so you can kind of see, if they have
Right.
whatever gear pieces. Like it says they're gear tier 6, okay, but what if
A
they
little
have
bit.
all 5 or 6 of the pieces to gear 7? You don't know that, so it's kind of hard to
Yep,
Right.
and
counter them.
you don't know which abilities they have either.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I think I have faith because they did this event well as far as the designing of the characters, and some of the changes they have done. But there's definitely more work to do. I don't think that can be denied. So outside of Baymax, okay, on an even scale, Honey Lemon or Baymax, who's gonna have the most lasting effect? Bude, you go ahead first.
I'm gear tier 7ing Honey Lemon before Baymax. I think he's not as thick of a boy that I wish he was. Um, and Honey Lemon just does so much. Um, with the comp I'm running, my strategy is to run circles around them. So I'm trying to slow and get haste and take all their purge all their helpful effects. But Honey Lemon being faster with Gear Tier 7 is much more comparable than Baymax being at Gear Tier 7 because they're just going to target him and he's going to be gone anyways. He's always the first one gone for me, and then I have to revive him, but I think Honey Lemon.
What are your thoughts, True?
Uh, as long as they don't, do anything to the kits, I can see Baymax being lasting a little longer just because of the pre-time.
Ooh, we
Because
got
I've seen a lot of strategies that they try to just kill your damage dealer right off the bat before you get a turn. But if you have a pre-time, you can't get past that.
and I think True's probably right. I agree.
I think
I think inherently Honey Lemon is more powerful and more versatile in the
I
long.
think
Definitely.
Go ahead, Bude.
I think there's going to be a point in this game where taunt is going to be very, very overrated. Just giving a Swuggo comparison, People use Darth Revan with Malik and the other tank that
Bastila.
that taunts,
Oh no.
and I just run CLS with no tank and run circles around them because I can get rid of that taunt easily. And I think that is the direction they're going, just because they've shown that taunt was a huge problem. Now we have to kind of work towards taunt not being a problem. So I think the abilities that Honey Lemon gives out, the harmful effects he gives out, will stand the test of time over that taunt. His purge is very good. The purge, yes, that will stay around.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Baymax is going to be more important. I think once people start realizing that if you upgrade and how to use like a Zerg correctly, like Zerg's still an amazing threat. It doesn't all people have been surrendered to the Elsa meta for a while, but Zerg and things like that is still strong. And if that Zerg has to have the impediment of going through Baymax, I think that's much better for the game. Things because you can still do it, but it slows down that team considerably. The honest to God, my all star is Scrooge. He really is an all star. Like even against Baymax teams, like his passive still works right off the bat, and you can steal that taunt off of Baymax too. Like, do you guys think Scrooge is still underrated as a counter character in this game? I still feel like he doesn't get as much respect as he should. What do you guys think about that?
He's still at the bottom of my to-do list.
Okay.
He's very very slept on, and every time I deal with him, I'm like, wow, I need to target this guy and also look at my roster and see how I can get one of those because
Yeah.
he does a lot.
Drew, what are your thoughts on some McDuck going on?
I mean, he's definitely increased in viability. I see him a lot more and more in on defenses for my tournament shard. I see him more in live PvP. So I definitely feel he's getting more love right now.
So I think the consensus among the community is while Big Hero 6 can probably, counter a frozen team and be a strong team, I think the hybrid is the way to go. And that's going to follow the path as most games of hybrid teams really taking the good stuff going forward and making smash. So with that being said, we're going to go on to our next section, and this is something that I thought would be fun. It's essentially a designing a tune section. In this case, I said take a character from this is the homework I assigned. Take a character from Mulan, the Mulan Disney movie, not the new one, but the animated one, and make a character using the following: one basic, two specials, one has a 2-turn cooldown, one a 4-turn cooldown, and one passive. We are writing the full ability out. We did not do rune upgrades. So let's go ahead and True. You picked Mulan. Why don't you read me that kit?
I didn't do my homework,
I
so
know he
you're asking
didn't. It's okay.
the wrong
I
mister.
I just wanted to put you on blast real quick. It's okay though. It's okay. If you were gonna create a character, who would have been your character you would have created from the Mulan series? You don't have to go into kits or anything like that, but give me a brief
I was
character and what they would essentially do.
yes, I was thinking about it earlier today, and I forget his name, but one of the Huns I feel would work good with like a Shan Yu kind of synergy. And that's
Okay.
just what I was just kind of thinking about.
Okay, fair enough.
But
Fair
that's
enough.
as far as I got.
True is a true academic. He is really nose to the grindstone, as we can tell. Butte, it's going to be hard to follow that up, but you go ahead and let me know yours.
Well, I analyzed the game and I saw that there are no passive supports, meaning a character that does not do an attack to the opponent. So I chose Cricky, which is the little lovable cricket, and his basic would be lend a helpful hand, grant tactics to one ally that has the chance to go to the adjacent ally. If Mulan is the target, she gains 2 turns of tactics. And special one with the 2-turn cooldown would be Shadow Puppetry. Trick targeted enemy using buffs on allies and harmful effects on enemies for 2 turns. May inflict on adjacent enemy as well, but you cannot stack. The other special, which is a 4-turn cooldown, is Terrific because he loves tea. Grant allies with taunt, apply Absorb for 3 turns. Absorb will allow the taunted ally to take all damage for 3 turns and then divide it up over 6 turns of damage taking. And again, you can't stack it. The passive would be grant protection and ricochet to allies at the beginning of the battle, as well as once an ally reaches 25% health left.
Okay. Drew, what are your thoughts on that one?
The only problem, not problem, but the only thing I see not really working too well is the Mulan getting tactics because she already passively gets tactics in her own kit. But that was it, really.
Okay.
Well, you wouldn't target Mulan then.
Was it? I thought you're targeting the person who could gain tactics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got you.
Ooh.
Jeez, True. Stop
Not to yell
drinking.
at me.
Stop drinking so much and pay attention to the game.
Too busy wailing, sorry.
Put your mom's credit card back in her purse, please. Anyway.
Yeah, and then you kind of have to have like something to block Cricky, maybe like an evasion or something, so he just doesn't die off. Because he's going to be a passive support.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Swuggo. If I look at the passive supports in that game, like C3PO and Hermit Yoda, they have evasion, and it's hard to get to them. So he has to have something in his kit. But that was the initial things that popped in my head.
Okay. Like it. I like these exercises. Now, True, do you think what he described would be too overpowered in this game, or do you think it would be fair?
The only thing I see is the absorb mechanic. I could see that being an issue.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I mean,
you would receive the damage, but it would just be over time.
Hmm.
And you're taking damage, after the 3 turns that for example, like a chunk, that would help him, you know.
Mm-hmm. I
I
feel
just
you.
have to see it in action before,
Right. But I think it's a good concept. I like it. All right. Well, then, I created one. For the longest time, I've wanted a true healer in the game. And then I think I pronounced this right, Chien Po, the big, tall, bigger gentleman of essentially the Three Musketeers of the movie, the guy who likes to eat. He's definitely a tank that is a healer. So his basic, I did not name these, so lay off. Deal up to 1400 damage to target. And when I say these damages, I got them from looking at other tanks in the game, so I had some sort of reference, and this is in line with other tanks. Deal up to 14 damage to target. Restore health equal to damage dealt. Teammates restore half that amount. So on his basic, he gets to restore 1,400 damage or up to 1,400 damage to himself, and then teammates restore 18 700 damage or 700 health to themselves. On his special, his first special, the one with the 2-turn cooldown, is deal up to 2,500 damage to target opponent and all flanking opponents. Gains taunt. Add 1 stack of taunt per critical hit, up to 3 stacks. 100% chance to inflict critical hit if health is above 85%. His second special, with the 4-turn cooldown, is restore up to 50% of Qianpo's health to all teammates. Restore 5% more health for each Mulan hero character. And then his passive, Qianpo gains 2% health for each Mulan teammate. If Mulan is a teammate, Qianpo gains continuous healing for entire match, restoring 1,000 health per turn. Essentially, this gentleman's role was he is protecting with his wide girth, essentially, and his eating and everything. I went with this. He's protecting everybody and giving back to them. And I really do think this game is missing some sort of actual healer in it. And I would love to see something like this. Something that, he's not hitting you for a lot, but he's just this bulbous, annoying, please just go away character. So what are you guys' thoughts?
I don't like the hate on Ariel.
Ariel's not that good of a healer. Ariel is just a pretty face in a horrible place.
Hey, she's a Disney princess, okay? And she has red hair. So
I have red hair, and that's still not going to save her from my wrath. She disappoints me every time I use her.
She might be in the A tier for me.
She might be in the F tier at the best for me.
The problem is you're using her. You shouldn't be using her in the first place.
There's no reason to use Ariel.
Yeah, I mean, I like your concept, and he can be very annoying. Yeah.
Fair enough. Drew, thoughts?
I hate it.
Why? Why do you hate this?
No, but
why do you hate on my dreams?
The only problem I have is that it's a tank, so he's probably going to be really slow, and he's just a naturally big boy. So I don't see him moving a lot, so he wouldn't be healing a lot.
Well, that's the good thing about that is if a tank, he's got that high health, and the point is when he does move, in theory, that he's moving in such a way where the heal is good enough. Like, he's going to be thick enough where you're supposed to be hitting him so much through his taunts that even if you get him down to low health, like his second special is like restoring up to 50% of his health. Like, in theory, it's supposed to be a guy that's just like, he just gets hit so much that it lets your other team actually get a chance to move. I think the slowness actually helps with his ability to taunt. I think he's almost, the way he's designed, he's meant to be a sacrifice. So, but I can see what you're saying. Like, he might have to be this might be a tank, like, to put a speed stone on to get him a little faster. But I was thinking how we would be with a recovery stone, and it might be a little ridiculous if he was fully maxed out. Because that 50% of his health is like, what's an attack character's health? Usually like 12k-ish, something like that? Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, 14 maybe.
14-ish. And a good tank's health is like 21, 22?
20,
22, somewhere in there.
22 about, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a decent health gain. I was wondering if 50% might be too much. But, like, Could you imagine this guy on like a 4-person Mulan team with a hero, and hero just makes Chien Po go first? That's the case where I think he'd be very annoying.
We'd have to see it in practice.
I
need to
would.
see. I need to see a character that does a nice belly flop.
I would love a
Like
belly flop.
I've seen Baymaxes fall from the sky. I've seen the whale. I need to see someone look at the other 5 teammates and just perform a perfectly good belly flop.
Before we go on, a little treat for the podcast. My wonderful daughter wants to say hello, so I'm going to let her say hello because she's all excited.
Hello.
She just blew everyone's eardrums out. Good Lord, help me.
Jeez.
Right?
Love you, Daddy.
Love you too, sweetheart.
Hello.
Okay, you said your hello now. Skedaddle. Daniel, do you want to say hello since you're popular? You want to come say hello? For those of you who haven't seen the podcast in its previous forms, True knows this. Daniel's a regular in our antics in this game. Daniel, why don't you come say hello?
Hey, stream. How you guys doing?
He says hello. Now, you two skedaddle. We're almost done here.
I'm
Fine.
gonna be
All right, so the moral of the story, kids,
with that.
is, don't do the kid thing unless you're ready. Don't do it. Anywho, so yeah, I like this design thing. I would love if we could put these characters in the game and just play with them, but that's a pipe dream. So let's go ahead and go to our last.
We can always post them on the DSA general chat and get grilled.
They'll probably delete them. I
might do that just to see what they say about your kit, dude.
Dude, go with it, man. Like, if it generates some interest, why not? Who cares?
I would like to collect royalties if any part of my kit.
And your only royalties is a kiss on the cheek and a hug. That's all you're getting. That's good whiskey.
Not for me, don't look
nice.
at me.
True, you're my designator hugger and kisser, so you best pucker up there, big boy.
Sorry.
Whatever. But our last topic is, what did I write down? Fix the game section. Taking the best rants from the DSA suggestion and feedbacks and having a giggle is exactly what I wrote in my notes. So there's never a issue finding those, so I'm going to go there and I'm going to kind of read them. Non-trucks, or whatever his name is. He's a regular in the suggestion and feedback. He says this. Let me explain to you why the starting speed system is not smart. One is that your character's starting speed meter is based off of the speed of everyone around them. So, for example, Shan Yu might start with 100% against Oceanic, but 50% against Big Hero 6, and 10% if in a Big Hero 6 squad against a Big Hero 6 squad. 2, it makes a ton of supports and tanks unusable. Having a character start at 10% speed meter really makes them less useful, especially if the enemy puts early slow on them. 3 is that no other game does it this way, and that's why speed isn't the only star that matters in Swug Up. Edit. Agree with the post with below post. 2 tunes with same speed don't start with the same speed meter. Let's analyze this. I'm not sure. Tell me if you guys understand this example. This is his example. Shan Yu might start with 100% speed meter against Oceanic, but 50 against Big Hero 6, and 10% if in a Big Hero 6 squad against a Big Hero 6 squad. Can somebody put that into English for me? Am I missing something, or does that example make absolutely no sense? Like, if you're going to criticize something, like, that's fine, but can we make sense while we're doing it? That's all I'm saying. Anyone got ideas? Because I've never had this issue he's describing.
I kind of get it.
Okay, enlighten me, because the way he wrote it made me go, eh?
Let's see. How can I explain it, though? From how I see it. So how? Let me see if I can find that old post. Probably not.
Back
So
in
how
the
did he
olden
explain speed
days.
once upon a time? Yeah, I forgot where that section was. How I think it, what he's saying is, if you put Sean Yu against any other non-speed leadership team, him and his team gain. They start off, basically full turn meter. They'll move one or two times before you. But if you get a faster team, why does he get such a low speed meter from the start when he's a faster character in the game?
I don't know if I've ever noticed that. I've never noticed that being an issue, really. It's just
It's not an issue. It's just inconsistent.
fair. But then again, the speed system in this game's second name is inconsistency. That's its translation into English. Speed in this game translates to inconsistent in English. So that is a fair point. I feel like this gentleman, he posts a lot, but a lot of times when he posts, don't quite understand what he's saying. Rob from Italian Legend says, hello. Since you changed event starting time, half Europe has just 1 hour before server reset to complete events. Is there any chance you can change it to the server reset so none loses any run? Well, Rob, while I appreciate your dilemma, I also didn't appreciate, having to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning to start an event when my day is busy. Additionally, when I had to stay up till 1 a.m. in the event and I missed it, some people in this podcast, not going to name names, may have gotten stitched with 2 or 3 star characters, and we missed out. So, move out of Europe, come over to the good US of A. We have McDonald's and stuff. Thoughts?
I think they have McDonald's in Europe.
Shut up! They don't have McDonald's in Europe. You leave me alone. This is America. We have everything.
It's not really an issue because the resets for the event aren't until whatever time the event started.
Yeah, and
The only thing that it affects is your claimed attempt for rerunning it.
And
That's the only thing it affects.
Yeah, and all jokes aside, you have 24 hours to get this done, guys. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes. And changing the times is just opening up Pandora's box. For example, I don't play the game, but Pokemon Go, there were people that were dropping themselves in locations that they weren't. And literally people will just
Spoofing.
drop themselves in time zones and
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. Anything like that. Some of the things have fair points, but it's just is it really that big of a deal? But we move on. Cam Tono posted, put some Big Hero 6 characters in the tournament and club exchange, just like what you did with the Frozen Legendary event. Now, while I agree with the statement, I must confess that Glue may have had the best motives for not doing this, and they realized that, we probably lost so much money doing that with Frozen that it would be silly to lose that much money again. Why would we make this somewhat free when people can get gems and buy it from a premium exchange? It's premium. It makes sense. They'll be happy with that. Right?
Yeah, but they got to do it for aging events.
I could see that, but
for example, Bo Peep.
Yeah, but you set a precedence with the first Legendary event that you put these characters not only having a bigger farm time, but you put these characters in the other exchanges as well. You set that precedent, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, maybe not. I mean, true, am I wrong? Or does that come off as they're trying to grab some more money, and they realize that we probably shouldn't have done that?
I would like to hope they didn't think that, but it did seem like this event was more cash grabbing.
The packs were
from me.
The packs were certainly worse this time around, to my remembrance. I felt
but there was a lot of people doing the math, and buying the shards from the premium exchange was a lot more efficient than getting the packs.
Oh, that's all I did. Like I bought. They had a double gem offer through the whatchamacallit, Tapjoy. I did a
Yeah.
$50 one. I got like what 13 some thousand gems, and it was just like $50 has essentially gotten me to has gotten me Baymax and most of my big hero 6 to 6-star at the end of this probably. So I'm fine with that, and then I'll just free to play it the rest of the way.
Yeah, but it did seem very money hungry.
A little bit, but it's a mobile game, so we have to realize this may happen. Here's my last one. And it's not like they aren't completely wrong in this. It's just let's pay attention to the language used. Chelsea Dagger says, "Are you forking kidding me? You're now doing forking 1-hour flash gifts. I got a push notification at 6:06 p.m. that there was a Mulan gift. I opened the game at 7:21 p.m., which made sense because A, previous gifts were around for 2 hours, already a stupidly short time, and B, this lined up with energy gifts. Except there's no forking Mulan gift. Just what F all of this? Stop being so annoying to your players and just treat them decently. Who in their right mind thinks it's a good idea to send players a push notification for them, only for them to log in and get diddly forking squat? Do you not understand what an unnecessarily negative impression that gives players? You appear to be hellbent on annoying all of your players until they run off into the sunset with another game. If that's your goals, kudos to you, you're doing fantastic." Now, the use of the English language was fantastic in this. I will now be boycotting the word fucking and be using the word forking in all of my conversation. Chelsea has convinced me in the necessity of completely changing a word for no reason other than trying to seem like you don't want to swear, which was silly. Secondly, push notifications. Like, how hard is it? Like, number one, it was a Mulan gift. What was the Mulan gift? Was it an emote? Was that the gift? Right? What was the Mulan gift?
Yeah,
Or
it was the
an
Cricky.
icon.
God
Yeah.
forbid we have missed an emote, guys. The game is dying. We can't survive. I'll have to use one of the 5 million other fucking ones that all of the 5 million forking ones I have. Shut up. Stop, man. Dumb. Okay, I opened the game at 7:21 p.m. You got it at 6:06 p.m. And, okay, cool. There's no Mulan gift. Okay, so you miss a Mulan gift and just open it when there's a push notification. Like, how hard is it to open the damn thing on a push notification if you're that worried about getting what a reward is? These are the kind of posts that make me just go like, well, there's plenty wrong with this game. We don't need to complain about this one. We really don't. Really? I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts? Maybe I'm just an ornery old man.
I mean, I would be devastated.
Well, true. I know you enjoy the finer things in life, so I'd expect nothing less.
I mean, they weren't really impactful. I mean, a couple of them were just like one shard of one character that probably a lot of people had. So it was just kind of whatever for me.
Bude, would you have been bothered if you missed out on the Mulan emote? Would that have ruined your day?
Taking that I spoke about Cricky, I was happy enough to get it, but I again, my player icon's been Zazu since I
Forever?
don't know when, so I don't really care about them sort of things. And like just push notification. Do it. It's telling you to do it now or else,
Right.
and you pick the or else. Who
God forbid.
I'm surprised she didn't get put on the George Foreman. Like,
It's that's all we got for that. I'm gonna try throughout the week to put these in there Because sometimes it's just funny. I just look at it and laugh.
I'm surprised you didn't see the person complaining about the 24-hour chest.
I may have missed it. The amount of meaningless complaints, meaningless ones.
Enlighten us. What was it?
Basically, they wanted it to be a 23-hour chest instead of a 24-hour chest.
What? Run that by me
Yeah.
again. Hold up.
And
What?
they wanted it to be a 23-hour chest instead of a 24. Let me see if I can find it.
I don't know, man. I can get a lot done in an hour. I can take a shower. I can clean up my house. I can rub one out. I mean, I can
the
do
best
plenty of
part-
things.
The best part is this person tried to recruit me. His name is GSPK. Is it possible to change the free 24-hour chest to a 23-hour chest so we can open it at the same time every day?
But
On the 24-hour timer, the opening time creeps a little later every day. With a 23-hour timer, it's possible to plan to open it at the same time every day and not worry about being 5 minutes late.
God forbid. Hey, you're 5 minutes, man. That God forbid I took the
That's ridiculous.
yeah I took those
Thank God
5
I
minutes.
didn't join that club.
Right? Jesus. God forbid I took
Oh,
5 minutes
man.
to go take a shower, take a pee, and rub one out. Like that's what I can do in 5
That's
minutes.
fucking ridiculous.
Like the timer would get 5 minutes more as a 23-hour chest.
Who cares, man?
It's the same. Yeah, exactly. Who cares? But it will literally be the same thing. You're asking for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Absolutely. Here's one
That
from
shit made my day.
here's one from Jack I just found. Daily request to delete fairy slumber. Sorry, he didn't say slumber. Daily request to delete fairy scumber. He said scumber, Scumber. I'm not aware of this spell. Off the face of the planet, or just nerf it to a single target. That works too. Everyone uses it above champion as it's required to compete. No fun or variety in spells. It feels like this guy has just got screwed by a very basic fairy slumber one too many times and he's a little butthurt. In no way is fairy slumber required. In no way have I ever felt that fairy slumber has cost me a match. Dude, what are you guys' thoughts? Sorry, we're running long, but this one irritates me. I don't understand this call for a nerf for fairy slumber. It's not game breaking, guys. It's not. Get good. Do something. Sorry.
I think this guy would love that every spell just gets ran to the ground, so it doesn't matter what spell you put on.
Hey, did he ever play it against Blue Fairy Magic or Dad Pants?
Probably not.
Cause I'm saying those ones were so much fun. Have either of you really
Fun
been
for the
worried about?
person using them.
Right? Have you ever worried about fairy slumber? Like I don't. If you
I
lose
could
to fairy
care less
slumber, you're
about
gonna
any
lose
spell anyone
anyway.
ever has.
Like I don't know. I don't get that argument. Oh, ban fairy slumber is so much harder. Shut up. God, man. You'll be fine.
I can see where he's coming from though, because where
true.
I'm at, it's
Hey.
slumbers everywhere.
Shh.
What?
Wrong. You're wrong. You are 100% wrong. I will
You don't
argue.
play at champion then, don't you, buddy?
I've played against people with plenty of fairy slumbers and maxed out flavors. I don't care.
He must be in the My Little Pony shard.
My little. I like My Little Pony. I got it tattooed on my butt, so I'm okay with that. This one just came across. Can we remove the glacial armor passive ability from Elsa's Shadow? This is an annoying feature that will only lead to only leads to battles being turn limited. I see no benefit for having this passive on Elsa's Shadow. Again, if you're losing a timeout to Elsa's Shadows with this ability, you're not playing this game right, and I tell you to get good. Shut up.
Yep. most of the player base has no idea how to position or target priority so just get good.
Just get good, guys. True. Do we just tell them to get good? Is that going to be our slogan for this? Just get good?
I mean, it is a bug that needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
There's a
but it's
lot of bugs with
Bugs
what
are
gets
just a
passive,
feature of
what
the
doesn't get
game.
passive.
Bugs are
we
just a
pay for the
feature.
we pay for the pleasure as whales to have bugs in our game. They add an exotic and unique feature to your gameplay experience. Is what they do. But to Magic Mike, boy, you better live up to that name because I've seen that movie, and from your profile picture, I don't think you're living up to this because you got a fat old Baymax in that picture. Get good. Stop losing to Elsa Shadows. It's like losing to a freaking Dash Shadow. Shut up. But anyway, guys,
It's
that's
like still losing to Dr. Facilier.
hey, Dr. F is Dr. F's kid is something like it's somehow going to make a comeback somewhere. It's going to do something. They're going to create some stupid character. Are you guys waiting for the moment where they create something that's just a weird loop in this game? They haven't hit it yet, but something that's actually truly game breaking. Like it's coming at some point, right? They're going to miss something.
You mean like Merida?
Yes, Meredith is going to break the game. They're going to do something, and she's going to just break it.
I would love that.
I mean,
she's geared tier 6 and
yeah,
a fit
buddy.
girl.
I honestly thought, what's his name? The evil guy from Monsters Inc. Randall.
Water News.
Yeah, that one. Randall. Like, his ability is kind of messed up. Like, there's no reason you should be able to hit somebody 11 times in a row. Right? Like, that shouldn't happen.
It's just a feature.
Do you imagine if it didn't? It's a feature. It's an unlockable content. You just need to figure out the cheat code. It's up, up, down, down. Spend your money in tactics, and you get to hit somebody with Randall 11 times.
Exactly. Get good. Enjoy the features.
Yes.
Just don't let him get tactics. How about that?
Yeah, right. Just kill him first.
Just wail harder.
How bad is your life? Seriously though, how bad is your life if you're targeting and killing Randall first in a game that probably features like Bubbles and Hero and all of this? Does that just make you feel a little bit bad about yourself? Maybe.
I roll out of bed feeling good, and I go into bed feeling good.
You don't drink enough. All right, guys. Well, we've been rolling for a little over an hour. This has been the Other Side Podcast. We've had True here. We've had Ragin here, Mr. Bude, Rar, and the Whale. I've been Will DSA. Guys, any last words? Say goodbye to the audience. Whatever you feel like. My son says you can say goodbye to him if you want. Not sure why you would, but sure. Any last thoughts before we head on out of here?
I'm going to post my Cricky character kit.
Do it.
And watch you get grilled.
Do it. Let the power flow through you.
But I need you guys to put the fire emote on.
I'll put a fire emote on it.
Doing it right now.
Why are you True? Why are you not a team player? I thought it was Black Spire for life.
We're not on the team anymore.
Is Black Spire for life, homie?
Yeah, we're a team.
On the weekends, we're enemies.
But it's not technically the weekend yet. We got an hour and a half left by my time.
I got a half an hour.
Uh-huh.
I got like 2 hours.
Get you in West Coast is the worst coast, sir.
That's why West rhymes with best.
I mean, you guys got all sorts of cool, like, sunshine and beaches and, like, cool stuff. But you just wait until there's a big old earthquake. Telling you. All right, guys. Well, I've been Will DSA. I've had True and Bude with me. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Truly, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. Go ahead and give us a like, share, and a subscribe if you enjoy ourselves. from myself, my son Daniel will say goodbye. Daniel, say goodbye.
Hi, audience.
He said goodbye. For Bude and True, we truly enjoy each and every view. We hope you've enjoyed this and had some fun. I'm going to go back to drinking.
No.
Shut up. We'll talk to you next time, guys. This has been the Other Side Podcast. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.